Only thing I eat.
All right, Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry turned heads when he said this about giving in-state tuition and financial aid to illegal immigrants.
But if you say that we should not educate children who have come into our state for no other reason than they've been brought there by no fault of their own, I don't think you have a heart.
Well, now students at Perry's alma mater, Texas A&M, some of them are upset with him.
For example, the Texas Aggie conservative student group has called on the governor to end the state's DREAM Act. Joining us right now are the group's chairman, Stephen Schroeder, and Officer Justin Pulliam. Welcome to both you guys. First off, Stephen, what bothers you about this?
What bothers me about this is that Texan taxpayers should not be forced to subsidize the college education of adults who cannot legally work in the United States.
And yet many millions of them do. When you listen to Governor Rick Perry saying that, look, you got to have a heart because these kids came here, not knowing they were brought here, does that do anything to change your opinion? Justin?
Well, this isn't about spots in college. This is about who's paying the bill, and this idea that illegal immigrants are entitled to a free ride or reduced tuition is ridiculous.
Right. Steve, do you know any people, for example, the story goes, they've been here since kindergarten. They go through the system. When it's time for college, they apply. They have the grades to get in, but they're not entitled to, before Rick Perry stepped in, they're not entitled to in-state tuition rates. Do you understand their side of the story? And do you know anybody that was with you through 1st through 12?
I absolutely understand and sympathize with their side of the story. I understand them wanting a better life and coming to the United States. While I do not personally know anyone with this status, like I said, we do sympathize with them, but we just don't believe that it's the responsibility of the Texan taxpayers, especially in these rough economic times, to subsidize the education of someone who can't legally work in the United States after they graduate. The reason for subsidizing education is to build a more productive workforce, and it really just does not make sense because they can't legally hold a job.
Mm-hmm. I guess the other side of the argument, Justin, is that Governor Perry would say that if you don't educate them, then they'll be on the government dole because they won't be able to get the kinds of jobs that people do when they're educated. How would you respond to that?
Well, this isn't about who receives education. We already give a K-12 education to everyone in Texas, and we pay for it as well. But this is about higher education and who pays the bill. And right now, in these tough economic times, we shouldn't be rewarding people who can't work. And also, the Texas DREAM Act incentivizes illegal behavior and incentivizes people to enter the United States illegally.
You know, a lot of people weren't aware of this, especially with Texas, around the country, until this came up in the debate. But Stephen, has this been a problem? Has this been something that groups like yours have been addressing, but no one's been listening to this point?
Yes, in fact, we've been addressing it since May 2010. Justin passed a student Senate bill saying that illegal immigrants should not be rewarded with in-state tuition. I mean, this has been something that's been on our minds for a while, and surprisingly, even today, lots of students on campus do not realize that illegal immigrants are receiving in-state tuition. It's a shock to them.
Wow. And to many Americans who listened to that debate when Rick Perry said what his policy was as well. Stephen Schroeder and Justin Pulliam with the Texas Aggie Conservative Group. Thanks for your thoughts this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 28 minutes now past